So we just finished up 30 days of fasting for the period of Ramadan, and I'm going to give my experience from the whole 30 days, why I did it, what I learned, and what it led to belief. So stay tuned. So many people have asked me, why did I fast in the first place? I mean, I'm not Muslim, I'm not religious by any means, and why did I choose to diet for Ramadan? So the truth is, I've always wanted to fast for Ramadan. Since living in Dubai the last 3 years has come about. I've always been competing, I've always been in preparation for something, so it hasn't been really conducive to my goals. But I've helped many clients out, structuring training plans, diet plans, in order to fit around a window of fasting. So obviously this year with the pandemic, with the current situation we're in, and the bodybuilding show I was preparing for, the Mr. World Championship, was postponed, maybe even cancelled for this year. I decided to make the transition and take advantage, take this opportunity to learn a little bit more about fasting, to not only speak from my knowledge and from my understanding, but also from my experience. Now, before this, I never really done any extensive fasting. I may have fasted for a day, and up until this point, I was eating 6 meals a day for probably 10 to 12 years consistently. But like I said, I helped many clients with structure and plans for Ramadan. So I decided to do a fast of 16-8, so meaning that I would eat in a window of 8 hours and then I would fast for 16 hours. And I chose the time around Ramadan just to kind of sink in and to learn more, not only from intermittent fasting, but from Ramadan fasting. So my meals would start at 7 p.m. and then my meals would finish at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So I was doing a long, extensive fast. I was only doing a food fast, mind. I wasn't doing a water fast because I didn't want to put my body at unwanted health risks. And at the same time, I was trying to conduct things as normal. So I was getting up, doing my walking, being busy in the office, working, the majority of the day. Where I know a lot of people in Ramadan would usually sleep the majority of the day and just shift their periods. So what I learned is from the research, because obviously it encouraged me to do a lot more studying, a lot more learning. There are a lot of benefits to fasting in particular, not particularly for this duration with water and so on, but intermittent fasting. I mean, it has been told and has been proven to lower the chances of diabetes, lower blood glucose, improve the brain function, weight loss, digestive systems, and it's even been proven to help reduce or even remove certain diseases by fasting the body from toxins. So I was always interested in doing some fasting myself. So from my experience and from what I was doing, which was fasting up until 7 p.m, breaking my fast with a meal that was quite high in protein, high in carbs and low in fat, because I wanted the digestion to be quite quick. I wanted to absorb the meal relatively fast, and then I would train about an hour and a half afterwards, which would take me up until around 10:30, which then I would have my second meal, and then I would wait like 2 hours, have my third meal, wait another 2 hours and have my fourth meal. Now obviously, me going from eating 6 meals a day to eating only 4 meals a day was, first of all, it was a big ask. It was something I kind of didn't really register right in my mind because it was something I was used to doing for so long. And obviously I was trying to condense the amount of calories I was consuming, because my particular goals throughout this duration was to maintain muscle mass and to stay relatively in the same condition. I didn't want to lose any weight. I certainly didn't want to gain any weight, so it was about maintaining. So I originally started out with trying to condense all my calories, all my meals into 4 meals, eating in a window of 8 hours, and it just become too challenging for me. The biggest issue I had there, I just couldn't digest the food. They were too big of a portions. In particular, the protein was too high. So one of the first adjustments I made in the first few days was bringing the protein right down. And I dropped my protein from around, well, I say 300 grams, but that wasn't considering all the protein in, things like green beans, in mushrooms, in all these extra things. But I reduced my protein by about 25% anyway. And so my meals become a lot smaller. And that was a lot better on my digestion. Now, throughout this period, how did I feel without food in my body for 16, 17 hours? I mean, I was hungry, 100%. And there was about 3 p.m. in the afternoon is where I would hit that wall and I would get starving. Literally, I would felt like I could feel my body eating away at itself. My stomach was just calling for food. My mind was telling me to eat. But that was fine, being a competitive bodybuilder, I'm used to doing long preps and long durations. But how was my energy? Well, surprisingly, my energy was fine. I mean, I felt great. I was consuming enough calories throughout the duration I was eating, so my energy didn't really get affected. How was my brain function? And this was one I was very drawn towards. I wanted to see and understand if, eating less food will allow me to become more cognitively smarter, learn more, absorb more information, which in all honesty was the case at first. But then as I went into like week 2 and week 3, my memory was starting to go. There were certain tasks that were just becoming too difficult, that normally are not a problem. Just understanding conversations were getting more irritable, and it wasn't because I was hungry or always weak. It was just because the concentration it was taking to absorb and transfer that person's idea and information into mine, it was just taking more effort. So for that reason, it was becoming a little bit frustrated, a little bit, irritated. So I certainly didn't see any benefits there, in all honesty. Now, I was up later. So because I was eating at 2:33, I wasn't going to bed until late. So my entire kind of day started a little bit more tired than it would. So could it have been that? Could it have been the fact that I was, going to bed later for 30 days straight and getting up a little bit later and shifting my pattern around? But my energy was certainly fine, but I did notice a little bit of brain function or malfunction, let's call it. And did I lose any weight? No, my weight was quite stable. It fluctuated a few pounds here and there, but the goal was to stay under 210, and I did quite comfortably. Did I lose any strength? No, my strength was fine. I mean, what other positive benefits did I learn from it? Well, I couldn't really measure any kind of reduction or, lack of reduced in any diseases or so forth, because I have none. But what was the biggest challenge for me was turning my structure completely upside down. It was training at night in the dark, after one meal, and by this time I was bloated, because one thing I learned throughout this fasted period is once you stop eating a certain amount of food, or any food at all, for a long period, whatever you eat seems too much to consume. So I was quite bloated going into my first meal, and I obviously wanted enough nutrition to support my workout. So I was eating, a decent sized breakfast, but it was disrupting my digestive system. And because the meals were closer together than what I was used to, like 2-3 hours, bringing them into 2 hours, and slightly bigger because I was condensing the calories, I just felt like I was just bloated consistently. I wasn't able to digest the food. Throughout the day was fine, but then as soon as I started eating. But like I said, the biggest challenge for me was disrupting my pattern, my structure. I'm very big on finding a diet that's sustainable. And we haven't really spoken about the foods I've eaten throughout this fasting period, because I eat the same foods all the time, pretty much. They vary in quantity, they vary in quality in terms of they vary in the different macronutrients. but I eat a solid baseline nutrition because I believe in balance and it's suitable for me, so it's sustainable. But what wasn't, the same as what I was doing was the timings. Now, like I said, it's all about sustainability, finding a diet that you can stick to. And for me, I enjoy waking up, doing my morning cardio, sitting down, having my breakfast. It's a big part of my rituals. It makes me appreciate the day and I get moving. I also enjoy switching off at night around 10:30, putting the laptop away, putting the phone away, and sitting down my last meal, which is usually casein and nut butter with a cup of caramel tea, and just sitting there and enjoying it and relaxing. That's my structure, that's my routine. So that was turned upside down. So for me, this type of lifestyle is not sustainable, even if it was leading to the results I want, because there's other ways to do it. So for that reason, I certainly won't be fasting out of choice for a long time. I mean, I did the experiment. I committed for 1 week, which I said I would. 1 week wasn't enough to challenge me, in all honesty. I didn't feel any different from it. So then I committed to 2, and then once I did 2, I thought I got to stick out this duration of the fast. I've got to last it out. So I did, and I learned a lot from it. Now I can speak from experience. So when people talk about the lack of energy and so forth, honestly, this, in my opinion, this is just because they're not used to following a plan. And maybe they go in out without food for too long. I think fasting certainly has its place for certain people. Like if you were very busy and you like waking up and just get on with your day and you like missing breakfast, that's brilliant. Or if you enjoy eating the beginning of the day and then fasting for the rest, that's also fine. And a very good advantage of doing a fast is the reason why almost every diet works, and I've spoken about this with a few people on the podcast and just a few people in general. Once you commit to not eating anything outside the plan, and in this case, outside that window of time, and you fully commit, it literally stops you eating anything that you feel you shouldn't. So when I start my fast, literally, I know I haven't got until the next evening until I can break the fast. And let me tell you this, a lot of people, they follow a diet as a guide, but it's all them little things, all them deviations they do and that's pulling them away from that diet, and them calories are adding up. So we don't need that much food, and what I've certainly learned from this fasting period is I actually enjoy being hungry. So when I've made the transition now back into, eating more structured throughout the day, I haven't gone back to what I used to. I follow the same diet. I added one more smaller meal in for now. But the difference from now than before is I've spread my meals out. So I've been having my first meal very early after my cardio around 8 a.m, a lot earlier than I would. And then I'm giving it 4 or 5 hours even before my next meal. So was it a good experience? Was it a good experiment? I certainly enjoyed that period. Would I recommend people to do this type of diet, intermittent fasting for weight loss? Certainly not, unless it's sustainable and conducive towards their goals as well as their lifestyle. And does it have a lot of benefits to come from this type of diet? And certainly, but any diet that puts you in a little bit of restriction in terms of following a structured plan and, only eating in the windows you should and only choosing the right selected food, all are positive benefits. So that's my whole take on this whole situation, and the experience was good. Now I can talk from experience, I can help people out more, and I can give more content and more information out. But it was an experience and a challenge that I took on and accepted. Did I enjoy it? No. One of the biggest things that this experience, let's call it, has taught me, and one of the things I most appreciate for, is I got far more respect for mainly the Muslim culture, to be honest, or other religions that fast for long durations, because I did this out of choice, okay? And anybody who's been following me knows I have tremendous will. I have great discipline, and I'm determined to do whatever I set out. it was a challenge for me, and it was times where I really didn't want to do it. So I respect the people who struggle to follow any type of diet and any type of structure, but for 1 month, 30 days of every year, they fully commit to not eat and not drink in them periods, because, you know, that shows how strong they are. And that shows, if you're watching, if you can do these things, you know, in these durations and throughout these periods, you can do them whenever you want. It's simply a choice. I spent some time talking with a client yesterday, and he was saying, oh, I hope that I wake up in the morning to do my cardio. And I said, look, we don't hope for things that we control. We hope for the things we can't control. You getting up doing your cardio in the morning is simply a matter of choice. You either choose to do it or you choose not to. And the whole point of this is, if you are proving to yourself that you can do these fasts, whether it's for your religion, for your culture, or for whatever other reason, maybe you're just in a position where you can't afford the necessaries or you don't have access to, then you prove to yourself you can follow a structure, or you can go without food. You can fight that temptation to eat when you don't have the opportunity or the right to. You can do so. So you can follow the plan. And that is the biggest thing that's come out to me, the respect for the people who fast, and the respect for the people that don't have the opportunity and the advantages we do to eat. So on that note, I'm going to leave it there. We're going to go off to the gym. The gyms have been shut for almost 3 months in Dubai, and it's our first workout. I got my boy, my little Zooksy boy, who had a little bit of a traumatic incident a few days ago, bless him. He almost died. He had heat stroke, and I had to save his life. But now he's good and he's well, and we get him back to normal. So if you haven't done yet, hit the subscribe button, like this video, comment, share, and stay tuned, because I'm going to be documenting the workout today, or at least my experience in the gym, and I'm going to see what this pandemic has left us in. Hashtag bull mode. for a very anticipated leg day workout. I was at the gym 2 days ago, first time in 10 weeks. It was very good. It was a lot calmer than I expected, in all honesty. Everyone was more relaxed. Obviously the restrictions are in place here in Dubai, but fortunate enough, one of the gyms I go to is so big and it's very niche market targeted that it's never crowded. So that was a really good workout, and I almost forgot how good the gym made me feel. Obviously I've been training in the courtyard like many people, working on our own, but you know, how positive I felt when I was coming away and just talking to people and seeing how much energy other people had from the gym honestly made so much difference to my well-being that day. But like I said, today is leg day, and it's one of the body parts that I've been struggling to train very hard. Obviously I've had just a set of dumbbells and a bench, so I've been mimicking workouts the best I can. But you know, as much as it's been effective, it's been challenging, because anyone who trains legs knows we need a lot of kit. There's certain movements we can't really mimic with body weight, or you know, push the body to that extent by any means. So we're going to train this morning on a Saturday, and then we're going to have a good, well-deserved cheat meal. It was check-in day for myself and many of my clients yesterday. I added one more meal to my diet from my Ramadan diet, and my weight is nice and stable, so I'm not going to change anything moving forward into the next week. I'm just going to keep going, and obviously I'm going to have a nice rewarded cheat meal this evening. So without further ado, as we always say, let's go and kill some leg day, baby.